Welcome everyone to this edition. I should not be up at top, but since I am first, I'll wait till I switch it. Welcome to Talented Universe on this 8th day of July in 2025. So we are here with our special guest, which I will introduce later. First, I want to introduce my co-host, Liz. How are you doing today?
I am doing absolutely wonderful, and get me off full screen, please.
Yeah, well, I'm just doing this today since I had to go full screen to begin with.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Marcia, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. You're punishing us. Okay.
Yes, I
Yes,
am.
he is. Yes, he is.
I'm having fun punishing you. So now I'm going to go back to the regular layout, and I will introduce our wonderful guest today, Richard Trotter. Richard, how are you doing this fine and dandy day?
I am doing great.
Well, that is great. Now, what I'm going to do first is I'm going to go with 2 questions from Justin in the chat room, and just see how things go first. And Justin says, my 3 favorite TV characters of yours are Lucas Sterling, Blake Rhodes, and Mateo. Which of the 3 do you relate to the most, and which one do you relate to the least? And would you hang out with any of them in real life?
I don't think I would hang out with Blake Rhodes, despite the fact that was probably my favorite character to play. Mateo was maybe a little bit more aggressive than someone I would hang out for an extended period of time with. So I would say Lucas Sterling would be the person that I would hang out with the most and probably relate to as well.
Okay. You and Hannah have better chemistry than most on-screen TV couples that the actors dated in real life. Have you dated her in real life, or do you guys just work really naturally well together?
We just work really well together. We have a great relationship on and off screen. She is really just a wonderful human being, just a great soul. So she's very easy to, get along with, and I've earned her trust over time. Working together on Kiss Me One Last Time, we had a lot of, chemistry to kind of build right away, especially in such a way of how that story evolves. And what she had to put into it from her side and what I had to put into it. And we kind of worked off of each other and helped each other in a way. And because of that, we built this trust. So yeah, we do have, we have some chemistry, and it is always a privilege to work with her. She's a fantastic person.
Cool. I'm just going to post something kind of fun. Justin kind of freaked out when he saw who the co-hosts were today. He goes, wow, both Liz and Marcia tonight. We need Vernon too. Well, Vernon's in a different time zone, so I try not to bother him unless it's someone from The Voice. I'll just say that right now. So, but anyway, I'm going to go ahead because I know what Marcia's going to be asking. So I'm going to go to Liz first for some of her questions.
Alrighty. Actually, before I start any of my questions, do you play? Because you have 2 gorgeous guitars behind you.
So I am very much in the beginner stages. My roommate is a musician. He's very talented. So I sit back and listen to him play the guitars. I actually have a piano on the far side of the camera here.
Awesome.
I'm at that, like I said, the very beginning stage. It's definitely something that's interesting and intrigues me, and I am picking it up very slowly at a snail's pace, but it is something that I mess around with when I'm a little bored.
I never really got the hang of playing the guitar. I can do very simple stuff, but I used to teach piano, so.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And then going on to something kind of deviating a little bit from the verticals, going back to your golfing career, because I'll let Marcia handle the baseball stuff because that'll be nice. But when you played professionally with golf, were there any courses that were your favorites or ones that you wished you'd played on?
I've been very fortunate to. I haven't competed on a lot of the bigger courses that I've been able to play just for enjoyment. I wish that I would have been able to compete. Um, in places like, for example, the U.S. Open was just hosted at Oakmont. Would love the opportunity to play.
Oops, we're losing him.
We're having a problem with your audio.
With me?
Yeah, now you're good now.
Yeah, me now? Okay, sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah, Oakmont would be the one that I have not played at all, but I would love to compete on. My favorite course that I've had the opportunity to play in recently anyways is Riviera over here in LA. I caddy there as a second gig, so get the opportunity to play there every once in a while. That's awesome. Beautiful golf course. My favorite golf course is called Hamilton Farms. It's in New Jersey.
Okay.
It's not very well known, but they practice for the Ryder Cup there. So it's something that the higher level guys, they're there from time to time. It was built on a horse farm. So stables all throughout the golf course. There's actually a whole par 5 that you can hit it off. The horses aren't in the stables anymore, but you can hit it off the stable that's still there and it will bounce back.
Really?
So, yeah,
that would be so fun. Absolutely so fun.
There's a par 3 course there that's unbelievable as well. Tiger Woods, it has now this is up until maybe 10 years ago, he had never broken par on this par 3 course. It was so difficult.
Wow.
So that's a very fun course that I got to play in a tournament. We did a Ryder Cup style my junior career, and that was the most exciting thing I think I've done in my golf career.
That is cool. And I know that Michael, we had a question from Justin in there.
Yeah,
It
ties in, so let me throw that one up. You used to be a pro golfer, if I'm not mistaken. Did you get to meet Tiger Woods or Jack Nicklaus before Tiger went insane and Nicklaus retired? Has golfing shaped your acting at all?
I'll answer this backward and forwards. Acting and golf, it's amazing how they relate, and it's amazing how sports and acting relate. I grew up playing every sport, and golf is one of those that in acting, one of the biggest things that can get in your way is expectations. So when you show up and you have a scene, or if you have maybe an entire film and you have an expectation of how you want it to go, more often than not, it doesn't go down like that, and you can kind of get in your own way. And the same thing happens in golf. You have an expectation of how things should go, and if one thing deviates, you might lock up and not execute the way you should. So yes, golf, sports in general, but definitely golf have been an advantage for me, I believe, in my acting, because I also approach acting with that mindset of repetition and the more I do it, the better I'll get, and the work ethic that comes from trying to be a professional athlete and trying to relate that to acting. So that all has been very positive towards my acting. Now, I didn't get the opportunity to meet Jack Nicklaus, especially not while he was playing. I have been on the phone with him. I was my swing coach when I was playing was a gentleman named Bob Toski, who is kind of a golf legend. He was a #1 money winner on tour in 1950. I believe he's 97 now. He still shoots in the 70s when he tees it up. And he was the #1 coach in the world for like 20 years throughout the 60s into the 70s into the early 80s. Toski's good friends with Jack, and there was an occasion where there was a bit of a debate on where power comes from in the golf swing. And the guy that was arguing with Toski kept quoting Jack. So Toski went, okay, and picked up the phone and called Jack directly, to which Jack did side with Toski. So it was a very, very cool phone call to be a part of. And then I have been close to Tiger, had very short interaction. I've caddied during the Genesis over here at Riviera. And so that's Tiger's golf tournament. So when he comes out, obviously, wherever Tiger goes, thousands of people follow. But I did get the opportunity to just kind of pass by him quickly. My roommate caddied for him directly. and apparently he is, the biggest golf in the best way possible to say this. He is the biggest golf geek. Like, he is just so, as you would think of someone who is arguably the greatest, what they do, they're obsessed with it. And so that was the thing that I've always heard about Tiger and people close to him, is how obsessed he is with the game and how obsessed he is with, getting better every day, which is something that I like to take to pretty much everything I try to do, especially the acting.
Well, now that you're doing so well with the acting and starting to get a very good foothold and recognition, and you golf, we would love to have you come up to Lake Tahoe and do the celebrity golf tournament every year.
Oh, I would love
that. You have so many people come up, and it's so fun to watch.
I would love that. You know who would love that even more is my dad. My dad would love to see that. And so that's definitely a goal.
Yeah, that would be so cool. So, all right.
Are we ready for Marsha?
Yeah, we're ready for Marsha.
Okay, Marsha.
Maybe not. Well, when I started to really look into your background, Richard, I was more than excited to see your sports involvement, particularly in baseball. And you have quite actually a history in baseball and have played extensively. And you also are from Fort Lauderdale, which is, Florida is the land of spring training, as we know. So tell me a little about your history in baseball. And you played shortstop, and yeah.
I did. I started playing baseball. Well, actually, you could say that I was playing before I could really even walk. My dad would set up a tee next to the table, with those plastic bats, and I would lean against the table, swing, hit the ball, and then fall down, and just keep trying to repeat that process. And when I want to say I was 3 or 4 years old, we had a pretty decent sized property in the house that we were living in at the time, and my dad built a backstop there. And so every morning while my parents were having coffee, I'd be out, pretending I was on the Yankees, hitting balls off the tee. And baseball was my first love, and it was my first passion, and it treated me really well. And I had the opportunity to play with some really, really good players that are succeeding at the highest level. And I had a very close friend that's doing really well. And the opportunity to see him progress and learn from his success and how he got there has been so special for me as an adult, really. And I got to watch it at a very young age. I watched him succeed at 18, essentially, and continue to succeed, and watching his work ethic. And that's been great. And baseball took me, got the opportunity to play in Cooperstown, New York when I was 12. That was so exciting. Go to the Hall of Fame and check everything out there and compete in that tournament was amazing. And then I got to high school, where I played for Archbishop McCarthy, and we were I don't want to sound, I don't know how I'm going to come off when I say that we were the best, but we were the best in the country while I was at Archbishop, and that was a lot of fun. And we had so many talented guys, and they did a really good job carrying me and getting me a ring, because they did most of the work. But yeah, so high school was great. We did a lot of winning, and then I went on and played in college and had so much fun playing and made so many great friends. And I missed the game so much, and I missed the playing of the game and the practice, but it was the locker room, it was the bus rides, it was just the guys at practice, just giving each other crap all the time, and just that kind of brotherhood that you feel, and we all push each other.
Camaraderie, yeah.
That camaraderie, that's the thing that I probably missed the most about the game, besides trying to catch up with a 95-mile-an-hour fastball. That's pretty fun too.
Well, so who do you think is the best shortstop in Major League right now?
Right now?
Or one of them?
I like Francisco Lindor a lot.
All right.
I like Francisco Lindor. Oh, that's right. You're a Mets fan. That's right. So, yeah.
Leading question.
I think he's talented with the glove and the bat, and also just a really fun guy to watch. always got a smile on his face. Plays
He
the game
really
right way.
is. And his first All-Star game as a Met. He's going to the All-Star.
Is he going to be starting? He should be,
Yeah.
right? Or
Yes.
Awesome. Awesome. He
Yeah.
deserves.
So we're excited about that. We could talk for hours about baseball, and hopefully, maybe we'll get the chance on the Sports Talk of the Guys show or some other place. That would be fabulous.
I love that.
But getting to Michael, did you want to take it? I have a.
Well, you go ahead. If it's not a baseball question, you can have another question.
Well, it is not a baseball question, but I am looking behind you, and is that Mortal Kombat behind you?
That is Mortal Kombat back there.
Well,
So this is
that's old school.
This is old school. It's got a couple games on it, but we added this to the apartment a couple years ago, or about a year ago, and it's a very important piece to my apartment. It decides who does the dishes. So we all play at the end of the day, and whoever the loser is, they are the one who are stuck doing the dishes. So it resolves a lot of arguments.
Sub-Zero wins. I mean,
that's right.
So that's my non-baseball question for now, Michael.
Okay, that's good. That's good. So I'm now, when I started doing these and started researching 10 months ago, this question is probably based on what I saw back then. And since I have not, are there any baseball verticals that you know of? I haven't seen it.
Yes.
There are?
Yes, I've seen a couple.
Okay, because I had, but I was going to say, if there was and you had the opportunity, would you like to be in a baseball vertical?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I'd love to be in any sports vertical, any sports movie. Yeah, to be able to tell a story, and especially about something that I love so much, that would be super exciting. I would love to do that. I'd love to, I would love to. I've seen a couple of the football verticals. I would love to do that. I have some little bit of quarterback skills in me that can show up on the camera, so that'd be fun. And but yeah, I would do anything baseball, really.
Cool. Speaking of jobs you have had in the vertical world, have you had to travel much yet, or had the opportunity?
So I've done most of my verticals, basically 90% of them here, and then I just got back from China. That will potentially be coming out in the next month or two. So I had the opportunity to travel, and we shot that over in China, and the opportunity to do that was very exciting, very eye-opening. I wouldn't even say it was a culture shock. I had a good idea of what I was walking into, and I was treated so well that it was very fun.
Which city did you go to in China?
I mispronounce it every time. Xi'an, Xian. Am I saying that correctly?
I think you're saying, I think that's as good as I could do. So
it was the first capital or it was the original capital of the first empire that I do know. That's where it was very close to the Terracotta Army.
Ah, okay.
So that was very cool.
That sounds really cool. So finding that out, where is probably the top place you would like to go? Film. Anywhere in the world. Where would be, if you could choose, where would you like to go?
One of my favorite movies growing up was Troy, where Brad Pitt plays Achilles.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure. I haven't really done a deep dive on where they shot most of the movie, but I do think they did a little bit in the Greek islands.
Yeah.
And so that would be, that wouldn't be the worst to be filming a couple months on the islands. That would be pretty amazing.
Yeah, a couple months. There you go. Yeah. Have a little.
I would also love to film in my hometown, Fort Lauderdale. There's a lot of cool areas that I feel like would show well on screen. So I would really love to film something in my hometown one day.
Have you ever thought of trying to do write a script for a vertical, or writing is not your thing?
No, I'm flirting with the idea. I have a couple of stories that I've started. It's I'm not the greatest at writing dialogue, so I'm gonna need some help along the way with that.
So you need a co-writer, basically.
Need a co-writer, I believe. Just a little bit of help, especially considering if I do write one, it'll be my first one. Definitely wouldn't hurt to have some help, even on the first couple. But yeah, I have a couple of stories in mind that I wouldn't mind trying to pitch, and I have put pen to paper, but they're still very much a work in progress.
Cool. Well, I saw Liz got mad at me. I think I stole one of her questions.
Yeah, you did, because I was going to mention that you kind of put your toe in, with writing. And
well, so I'm going to go to you, Liz, now, since
Okay.
I made you mad. Okay.
Well, you always make me mad. You always steal my questions.
Well, it's my job.
Yeah. But anyways, Richard, because you kind of have a interest possibly in writing more for either verticals or other things, do you want to do more work behind the camera or still in front of the camera?
I would love to direct. My first two verticals, the director Kinji, he was adamant about. He would test me while we were filming, like on different, like, okay, what inserts do we need to get? Would this be a good time for over the shoulder? And the psychology behind the camera and that kind of stuff, I'm super intrigued with. So when it comes to behind the camera work, directing would be it's just an amazing opportunity, and I'm waiting for that to come. Hopefully it will one day, whether it's my own writing or somebody else's, just to be able to kind of lead the story going forward. I like to think I have leadership qualities, and that's so important in directing, and kind of putting that to the test would be very fun.
No, I definitely agree. Here's a question for you. What is your favorite genre to play? And I know you played Alpha Mateo and other things, but if you go back, you, or at least the cast, received, I'm trying to think of the word actually that you guys got the award for Truth or Scare. And that was the horror movie that got it from, was it 2003, I believe?
No,
was the Crownwoods International Film Fest. Do you like horror, or do you like more fantasy? Do you like rom-com? What do you like?
I guess my only way to answer that question is there isn't anything I don't like at the moment. There isn't anything that I don't want to play right now.
Okay.
If there's a good story to it, I definitely want to be a part of it. I love action. I love action scenes. Very fun trying to choreograph fight scenes. That's always probably the most fun that I get to have on set, is doing that. But with that being said, I haven't played any sports movies yet, so we'll see about that. But
we'll see about that.
Yeah, but action is probably my favorite. But rom-com, that kind of feel to it is very. The ability to get on camera and be very loose and kind of because I find that in comedy is that you can't force anything. Everything has to be very loose, and you have to kind of just let it come. And when you do that and you're able to live in the moment, that becomes very exciting. So those are probably my two. Action and rom-com are my top, but the horror was fun. I mean, we had a great time shooting that. So yes, there isn't anything I don't like.
You don't like? Okay. That would probably explain why I have liked you as an actor going through. But the thing that sold me was when you played Blake. I absolutely hated you. And to have that come across as an audience watching, to truly despise a vile character like how Blake played it, you are an amazing talent. And it'll be very, very interesting to see as you go forward how far you will go, because from that I can see you going actually out of verticals and more onto the big screen and doing more serious, true work.
Thank you.
So
yeah, that was That was definitely a challenge. I got to tell you, when I was like 30, no, I think I was 60 pages into the script, and I was like, I don't know if I can do this. Definitely being able to have that arc at the end where he becomes a little bit more relatable, or
Yeah.
should maybe would be the correct word. But yeah, that was definitely a challenge, and it came at a time in my life that almost perfect timing. I had some things going on in my personal life that I was able to use for it. But thank you so much. I appreciate that compliment very much.
Oh, you're very welcome. Michael, was there any other questions in the chat room?
Yeah, okay, let me do another one for Justin, from Justin. If you could give any advice to any upcoming actors that you learned from other actors, what would it be? Any advice that for an upcoming actor that you learned from other actors?
Show up on time, be early, know your lines, have an opinion. Have an opinion is the big one. Believe in what you're saying. When you have to deliver a line, whatever you have to do to trick yourself into believing what you're saying is your truth. But yeah, show up early.
And now this question, I want you to answer as honest as you are able to, okay? This is from Wayne Trotter. How crazy is your father?
Man. Hey, Dad. He is the best. He's something else. Acting was something that I never, if you had asked me 5 years ago, 2019, if you would have said, hey, you're going to act one day, I'd be like, I don't really know about that. But my dad is this guy, he's such a character, and he's such a storyteller. And he's one of those people that one of my best friend's mom described it really well. She used some interesting words to describe it, but basically she said, he was this guy that he kind of comes off as a jerk from time to time, but at the same time, everyone like surrounds him whenever there's, any kind of parties, or even when I was in high school playing baseball, everyone would always be around him. He's so entertaining, and you never know what's going to come out of his mouth or what he's going to do or say, which is fun for others often. For me and my mom and my sisters, it gets to be you're on edge a little bit. He is crazy, but he's the best. I love him.
There you go. There. I hope that's Wayne. That's what you wanted to hear. So,
I bet you he's surprised how reserved I kept that.
maybe. But I'm going to head over to Marcia now. So,
well, Richard, when you first got your very first role, and put a little coin in the kind of Wayback Machine, what for Verticals, what was your reaction when you got your very first role?
I mean, obviously being just tremendously, just so excited to get an opportunity to, just work was so much fun. I had been in class for a long time, trying to make my own stuff. I think that's kind of where we are in LA at the moment, or in the industry at the moment, is, trying to make your own stuff. And then to have these verticals pop up and give us, non-union actors or beginning actors an opportunity to get in and get the reps was so exciting. And then I was blessed to work with some really good actors and a great director. And it was, excited, nervous, and I just wanted to make sure that I was prepared and on the first day and just be ready for it. So, nerves were definitely there. Definitely more so. I will say I was more nervous for day one of shooting than I had ever been in any sporting arena.
Wow.
On that note, I'll ask a question I usually ask everybody, and usually I ask it a lot earlier, but we were on different subjects at the time. When you started with Verticals and you were telling your friends what they were, and they all gave you these blank looks and didn't know what you were talking about, How did you explain it to them of what a vertical drama was?
How did I explain it? Well, you know, a basic, the easy response was it was a soap opera you can watch on your phone. And that was an answer that a lot of people, putting it in the simplest way, they took it and understood. That was kind of keeping it around that is how I explained what verticals were. And then when I got the opportunity to speak with actor friends and people who had worked before, I was like, you know, as far as I understand, it's the same thing that we all have been training to do. The only change is they flip the camera on its side, you know, and that's about it. Everything else, at least from my side, I try to approach the same as if it was a featured film or, you know, a short. But I definitely, you know, pointed out there was a lot of drama. There was a lot of all the things that we've grown fond of verticals. There was a lot of it. And I'm super blessed with my friends and my family that so many people are so supportive. So I was getting those weird looks and they were like, okay, whatever. As long as you want to do it, go do it. And, you know, and I'm going to watch it. And I have a couple friends that I make watch them and
Oh, you make watch them.
I make them watch them in the sense of like watch it to give me feedback.
So if you beat them in Mortal Kombat, they have to watch your
They got to sit down
5 verticals,
and they got to watch all of them with the commercials, all of it.
All of it. Okay, okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. I can see that. Marsha, I'll go back to you since I interrupted you.
Yeah. So when you get your script, and do you usually get the entire script at one time?
Yes.
And I know some actors won't read straight through, the kind of jump to the end or jump through. What is your technique when you first receive a script?
I try to read it without any kind of inflection of my own into, you know, obviously I know who my character is going to be while I'm reading it, but I just want to know the story and see the story while I'm reading it, like I'm reading a book. So the first time through, I try to go ahead and read it the whole way. And then the next 2 to 3. So the second time through, I might just read dialogue only. And then the third time, I might just read a lot of my scenes. There are times where I have not wanted to read scenes. I'm finding that works best for me is that if I stay away from scenes that I'm not in, it allows me to be surprised naturally when things are brought up. So I actually experience it right there during the take of like, I have no idea what you're talking about, even though I have an idea. I mean, I read it the first time through, I've heard it, but you know, when it comes to details and they're popping up as you're in the middle of the scene, it's fun to react naturally or to take it in and for the first time. So I try not to jump around until about the third time through.
Mm-hmm. And by then you kind of know what your approach is to the character.
Yeah, I kind of Matthew McConaughey-esque where it's like, who's my guy? It's a little bit of that. It's like, who am I? Why am I who I am? What did I create a backstory for myself? What did I go through in my youth that has led me to this point? Why do I not trust people? How was I done wrong? And then just apply a little bit of that and then build a character out from there. And I had the opportunity to caddy for Michael Pena before, and it made a great point of, you know, you read the script so many times so that if you say something on page 50, it might have said it because it's something that happened on page 25. So allow those things as you read it to the fourth or the fifth time, those small details to maybe bring to a scene that you wouldn't otherwise have thought about it. Or, you know, if I didn't do that work, that emotion wouldn't have showed up on the day. And I would have missed that. And that's one. So I think it's the one thing that actors really, we all do to ourselves, is we always feel like we could have done something a little bit better, a little bit different on each take. And the one thing that I never want to do is look back after we do the scene and be like, oh, wait a second, this was related to that, and I didn't even, relate the two. And so lack of preparation is probably my biggest fear. So I want to make sure that, those small details show up.
Mm-hmm. Before I go back to Michael, I have to tell you one thing I noticed. I'm a big fan of the series Lost, which was, I don't know if you've ever watched Lost, but you might want to, because your eyes are incredible, and it reminds me of one of the characters, Nestor Carbonell, who played Richard, was a huge part of that whole story, and your eyes are very mesmerizing in that you use them very well. And just take a look at that and see what you think about
I will. Thank you so much for that. Yeah. I appreciate it.
And I appreciate your sharing your approach to character, because we do have a lot of people who want that, to know from a working actor how to approach the character, how to approach the script, and so that's very helpful.
Thank you. Yeah, glad I could say that.
Liz, did you have anything else?
I just had one question that I'd gotten sidetracked with the guitars and all on the wall earlier, but this is the first question I actually should have asked. What, after you quit sports and golfing, what made you get into both acting and modeling?
Thank you for asking that question. So I was modeling while I was playing golf. It was actually funding my golf career.
Oh, okay.
Golf is it's very lucrative once you get to the top, but on the way there, it's requires, you're very often not making any money. So I was doing some modeling on the side, and that led me to I booked a golf commercial for Golf Galaxy. And so while I was still playing, I had filmed this commercial, and I was on set for the first time. And being on set was what we talked about earlier about how much I miss the team aspect of baseball. Being on set is the closest thing that I've experienced to that, because you have a group of people who are all like-minded, but are all very, very different, who are all coming together and working their tail off to try to tell a story and to try to get, a project done and finished correctly. And being on set was the first thing that got my eyes really open to acting, where I was like, I want to tell stories, but then doing the actual work is so enjoyable, and I got so much out of it in working with all different people. And so I slowed down my golf career, and I am getting callbacks for commercials at the time, but I'm not booking them. So I talked to my agent, and I say, maybe I should get an acting class under my belt so I can at least put it on my resume, so people, take me a little bit more serious.
Right.
Shopped around South Florida, and early on, it was difficult to find something that resonated with me, because we all need to be coached a little bit different. There's no cookie cutter way of coaching somebody. And I need someone that's going to be very, very no nonsense. I react best when I have someone who will both tell me that wasn't good and that was good. Because if I have someone who's telling me it's good all the time, it's tough to believe it all the time. But
exactly.
Hey, that wasn't good, or that sucked, and then you do another take, or you come back a week later and try to do a scene again, and they're like, okay, that was it, that's much better. You go home really okay, I made a big improvement, and they're keeping it very real with me. And it was hard to do that in South Florida, because most acting classes, because South Florida isn't a big place where acting is very prevalent. A lot of the acting classes was, people who were just doing it more so as a hobby. And I knew kind of right away that if I was going to do this, I was really going to do it. And I had a friend that recommended this woman. Her name was Jane Smith, and she ran the actor studio in Boca. And I called her, and immediately on the first call, I was like, this is my person. This is who is going to teach me. This is who I can trust. And I started taking her classes, and it was immediate. It was one of those things where she was so passionate about it, and she pushed that onto me so hard. And right away, we built a relationship where she started boosting my confidence and was telling me, like, you don't need to just do this to do commercials. Like, we can work to get you on the big screen. And I was with her. She left such a mark on me, which is crazy because I was only with her for 8 weeks, and she ended up passing away from breast cancer.
Oh my.
So that hurt. That obviously that took away a little bit of the drive for a short period of time, where it was just like, I just had this person who was going to be because we all need help to get where we're going. She was my main source, but she did enough for me in that first 8 weeks that I owe a lot to her and her legacy, because she was the person who really opened my eyes to I can do it. And then moving over here to LA, got into class with at Playhouse West with Robert Carnegie, and having another teacher like that. But that first interaction with her was what kind of started pushing the passion. And then getting on set makes it, once you're there, all the hard work in acting is done well before you show up on day one. And then once you get there, everything else becomes just super fun. So
Marsha, do you have a closing question? Or
I do. I don't know how much you are able to tell us. I saw a photograph of you from head to shoulders being slathered in this latex and it was
oh yeah, that was somewhere in Texas. There is a museum for, I want to say it was the Rough Riders or the first cavalry. I should be more diligent about knowing about this, but they made a museum in, I think it's outside of Austin, Texas, and they used my face on one of the statues as one of the.
Oh wow! So you're immortal now.
Yeah, so I'm somewhere in Texas. I'm up on a horse with a rifle. I'm sure it's probably the coolest I'll ever look, and they just use my face and put it on there.
Well, and looking at your upcoming, I saw that you have Secrets in the Sauce is upcoming still.
Yes, very excited about that.
I see a tagline for it. So, and it says love, rivalry, and recipe of movies. Very dramatic. Are you
losing you, Marsha?
Yeah, it was. There's definitely some drama to it. It's like a Hallmark style movie. Very, very. Just a lot of fun doing it. Got an opportunity to really stretch out and kind of tell a very cute story. So I'm excited for when that's all done and ready to go.
All right, we'll look forward to it.
Well, I'm going to go ahead with this last question in the chat room, and then we're going to be closing out. But Michaela Bergman says, good evening. And then she asks, what was your first good or bad experience on set that shaped you so much that you were able to grow from it?
It's a great question. I think that the biggest things that have happened to me so far have been in class, because I'm more of it's more of a theater class, and when it comes to acting, theater is the hardest thing to do.
Yeah.
So I did about a year and a half ago. I did a scene night where I did a scene from the play Proof, and the build up to it. And like I said before about having a teacher that will tell you when it's good and when it's bad, like a week before we went to do the scene on the scene night where we were going to have a pretty decent sized crowd. We were rehearsing in class, and Mr. C was just like, this isn't it. Like, you got to do more work on it. You got to come in with some different ideas. And, you know, it was so close to the night, and we're like, oh my goodness. And then we just showed up, and he gave us kind of a good pump up speech before of just, you know, breathe, live in the moment, and getting on stage and having that being relaxed. It was such a weird thing because, and I found it in sports too. I used to do it all the time, especially when I was in high school, where we were trying to win state titles, and when in baseball you lose one game, you're out. So you're so nervous before the game starts, and then as soon as the game begins, you're like, oh, just playing the same thing I've always done.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I was doing that scene on stage, it was like I belong here. And that was the thing that really kind of catapulted, where it was like, okay, I got some confidence, and then just being calm and how it's easy to then just take in what's being brought to you and kind of go for the ride. And so that was the point. That, and I did the scene in Kiss Me One Last Time, the final scene where I open up the picture and I look at the picture and lose my emotion over it. Leading up to that, I was, you know, am I going to be able to do this scene justice? And I kind of nailed it on the first take, and director Tracy Sheen, she gave me a huge compliment for that. And that was one of those things where I was driving home and I called my mom immediately, and I was like, I can do this. Like, I can really actually make a career out of this.
Very good. Well, before we go, I just want people that are listening, we do have some more vertical actors coming up for the rest of the week. I'm going to go over them quickly, not take up Richard's time. But on Friday, we have Kelsey Maskell, 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific time. On Saturday at 2 p.m., we have Caden Gibson. And then we have a very special thing Saturday night at 10:30 p.m. Eastern, 7:30 p.m. Pacific. We have the main cast of a new vertical, Campus Rivals, that's going to be on Big Blue in the next few days. So they're going to be joining us that evening and talking about their new vertical drama. So just want to close with that. And Richard, thank you so much for joining us. On behalf of Marcia and
awesome.
Liz, we think that's great that you're here, and we would love to have you come back. And if you do want to join our sports show one morning, Saturday morning, let me know, and I'll send you the link so you can get on and surprise the main host there. He always likes surprises. Yeah.
I would love that. Thank y'all so much for having me. Tell Kelsey I said hello, by the way. She's one of my favorite people.
Oh, I will tell her. I will tell her. But
thank y'all so much.
Everyone, take care, and we'll see you again. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.